just laying down, sleeping in the wet grass. But I don't know for how much longer he's going to be sleeping. He could get up at any moment, really. He could go down to the pan to have a drink. But from this angle, he looks like he's got an exceptionally swollen belly. So he might also need to have a little cat nap, which is normal for leopards to do. But it's not just me out on safari this fine summer's, well, it's not even summer, this beautiful winter's morning. James is also driving around, and Byron, and probably in the next 20 minutes or so, will be out joining us on bushwalk with Herbie and Ferg. And it's going to be another beautiful day out here. I think winter has finally settled upon us, or at least the early stages of winter. Crisp, cool mornings, but beautiful sunrises, the afternoons providing beautiful sunsets. And well, let's hope we have many, many more of those to come. Now, as I said earlier, we were all quite impressed well, I'm definitely, and I'm sure Senzo is too. We're very impressed to see that Hosana hasn't lost his kill. And if you look just to the right of the tree, there's a broken branch. We just go a little bit to the right. There we go. And in the fork of the tree, you can actually see the impala carcass. So he'd killed a male impala. We're still uncertain as to when it is. Maybe it was 2 nights ago. We just didn't hear all the commotion. And he was just being very sneaky and hiding away. And that's the case most of the time. Sometimes you don't even spot something like a leopard, which has got the most amazing camouflage as they move or lay down in the tall long grass. I meant to say lay down flat. And it's going to be one of those days. But still a little bit of meat left, not too much. So I reckon this afternoon he'll move off and head on to somewhere else. Though I hope he doesn't go anywhere. I hope he does decide to stay here, because there are plenty of impala ratting around. And well, we all know what's happening with the impala rams at the moment. They don't quite seem to have their heads screwed on tightly, which allows for a young, experienced leopard like this to take full advantage of them, which is great for, of course, Hosana. But like I said, it isn't just me out here. And this morning, James is bumbling about. He's going to look for anything, I think, this morning. So let's jump on board with James and Sebastian and say hello. James, it's about time my luck changed. I haven't been having the greatest luck with the animals, but that's all right. I'll take it in the waves that it does come, because that's what nature does for us, unfortunately. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and well, this morning, it's fantastic, isn't it? And he keeps tossing and turning in the long grass. I'm actually sure he must be enjoying the dew on the grass this morning, just because, as you know, when leopards do gorge themselves, which they love to do, well, I think all the predators love to do that, he gets a little bit uncomfortable. I think that's why he's rolling around so much, is he can't just find a comfortable spot. And then, well, the nice cool temperature on the grass must be quite soothing, because you've seen them when they do have very, very full bellies. They're normally taking very, very shallow breaths. At the moment, it's not too bad, but it does look like he's eaten a beach ball. Hosana? But very, very cautious. And this is quite interesting to see, because the behavior with him by himself versus when he was with his sister and his mother is very different. He never had a care in the world when Karula was around, and his sister, he had 2 other pairs of eyes and ears to watch his back, and he could quite happily munch away, play around, literally with no worry in the world. But now that he's all on his own, well, it's a little bit different. And he's got to watch his own back. He's got nobody else looking out for him anymore. And you can clearly see that, how he keeps sitting up as well, looking around, because charging in. And I can tell you right now, he'll get a big fright. He'll have to go up to the top of a tree. That's where they'll chase him, and they will take his kill from him. He hasn't done a very good job, I'm afraid, in hoisting his kill. But I suppose you can't be too good at everything just yet. I'm just impressed that he was able to take down a fully grown impala. That's, to me, that is spectacular for his age. That is a huge achievement, and I really hope that he keeps it up. And also the fact that he has kept it so long, which is unusual, because the amount of hyena activity that is around camp is spectacular. We have hyenas in camp. I'm pretty sure there was one running around the car park last night, and for them, they would literally not even have to stand on their hind legs to jump up and pull this carcass out the tree, where the one set of legs is sort of dangling. I can't tell which way is top from bottom now, because he's eaten so much of it. They literally could just walk up to it and snatch it and pull it straight out the tree. which at this point I don't think it would be a big meal lost because he's eaten most of it. And Rebecca, you were also wondering this morning, seeing as though James has been chatting about wild dogs. And by the way, James, good luck. I hope you find those beautiful painted dogs. And you were wondering if they would come through and steal them. Well, Rebecca, they most certainly would. Again, they would chase Hosana straight to the top of the tree. I don't think they would bother him too much because that kill is so close for them. Normally you'll see dogs get a bit snappy and a bit, I think, annoyed when the leopards go up the tree and they can't get them anymore, and that's when you'll see them sort of jumping up, but they'll be distracted because he'll go straight up, he'll retreat, and they'll pull his impala kill down. They'll eat it very quickly because there isn't very much left on there. Then they might hang around a bit and, maybe 10-15 minutes. Eventually they'll get bored and they will move off. But that's really not much of a meal for anyone anymore. Though Shongile, I'm sure, would absolutely love to come and have a nibble on that, and I'm not sure where she is at the moment. I think she's hanging around little Gari. That seems to be her safe spot. But look at that. He's done a good job, Hosana. We are all very, very proud of you. I didn't think that this day would come so soon. I know he's been taking down sort of smaller prey as well, but the fact that he's gone and done this is quite sterling. And I hope he gets up too, because I'd love to see how much he's grown. And I saw him when I first got back to work, so about 2 weeks ago. And it was just at night, and I was so shocked to see how much he really had grown. But it was in infrared, so I didn't really get a good view. But now, the light is only getting better and better. So when he stands up and hopefully climbs up onto those branches, does a bit of an acrobatic job, and starts feeding again, that will give us the perfect opportunity. Well, and speaking of things that scavenge, hyenas, wild dog, James has got the scavengers of the sky. Well, Byron, I'm so glad that you're out on walk this morning. I hope that your socks don't get too wet. But our leopard is still sleeping. But something that we do have, Senzo, have you looked over your shoulder to have a look at what the sunrise is looking like? Isn't that absolutely spectacular? I think we'll take a look. While Hosana is fast asleep, I think that we have got a prime view at the moment. He's now gone into a deep slumber. So I'm actually starting to think, did we perhaps arrive a little bit too late? Maybe he was up and feeding a little bit earlier this morning, which is maybe why we had all the alarm calls. I believe that there were kudu and impala alarming around here, and if he was walking around, that would have indeed startled them. But for now, fast asleep, and we'll sit here for a little bit longer and see if he does decide to get up. But I'm not sure if he will now. But Byron, well, he's gone from not searching for leopards on foot this morning. He seems to be taking it easy, looking for the smaller things, and he's got some beautiful yellow flowers to show you. Beautiful friend Hosana is still fast asleep. I was going to say he hasn't done much, but then I'd be speaking utter nonsense. He has turned around 3 times. He's done a couple of rollovers, but he hasn't even popped his head out and looked back at us, which is one thing that I find absolutely fantastic, is that he doesn't feel threatened by us. He's not bothered by us at all, that he feels as though he needs to look over his shoulder towards us. However, anything else that makes sudden movements through the grass, he sits up and he stares and gazes off at them. But I think what we're going to do now is, he doesn't really show any signs of waking up. He hasn't done the typical leopard wake-up signs, I suppose. He hasn't yawned, he hasn't started grooming himself. Like I said, he's pretty much just laid in the same spot all the time. I did get a bit excited when he was rolling around a few times in hope that, well, he was going to climb the tree. But we'll come back. I cannot believe this. This is fantastic. This is a big impala ram, and I think it's the one that's been running around all morning, making a lot of noise, that I thought was going to put himself between us and Hosana, and well, he has. Now, he's just turned his back on him. I can't see whereabouts Hosana is in the grass, but you see where that little termite mound is? That's where he was. That's where he was laying. Oh, there he is. You can just see the spots. So he's looking attentively at the impala. See how his breathing is picked up? There he is. Let's go a bit wider because I think he's going to run. He's flat in the grass. The impala has absolutely no idea that he's there. I don't know what he's seen, if he saw the other impala hanging from the tree and is just wondering. There, you see how he's starting to slowly move? Look how his breathing pace has changed too. We saw him earlier. His breathing was very slow, very relaxed, even with his full belly. He's now concentrating. And if we could, I'm sure that his tail would be moving slightly in the grass. But I'm hoping that this impala actually just comes walking straight towards us, because if he does that, he's going to put himself a little bit closer to Hosana. I think he knows something's up there. I mean, impala are not unintelligent animals. Everything out here is very, 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 very clever. However, his mind is not well where it should be at the moment. He's got one thing on, or two things on his mind. He's chasing out the younger males, and if there's an opportunity, if there is a impala ewe in estrus, well, he would like to mate with them too. So I'm quite keen to see his next movements. He's not far. There must be about 15 meters or so between them, maybe even a little bit less than that. But there he is. He's put his head up now. Put your head back down, Hosana. Don't be silly. And this is the inexperience again. Now, the grass is actually not particularly long around here. Here he goes. No, not yet. Be patient, Hosana. This is where he needs to, while the impala's got his back turned towards him, he needs to crawl. He needs to do a proper leopard crawl. He could easily put another 2 or 3 meters closer towards that impala. Remember, they don't need much. Ideally, they want to get right underneath an animal's feet and then pounce up and land on top of them. But sometimes that's not always going to work. And we'll see how this all plays out. But how exciting is this? This is so exciting. Impala, come back this way. Stop going the other way. He's got quite a bit of coverage. He's got the grass, he's got the termite mounds, there's a few little shrubs, so that's why I keep saying he could easily move towards this impala without the impala even knowing that he is there. You see that? All the little senna trees, all the new bush willows that are just starting to grow. He can hide behind those. Now, we're not going to move at all at the moment. We're going to stay in the same spot. Oh. There we go. Impala's spotted him. Did you hear that alarm? He's walking towards him. Now, this is quite typical, of course, of impalas to do. If they do spot something, they'll often alarm and sometimes move a little bit closer to get a better view. There we go. Hosana, what are you doing now? No, he's not interested anymore. He's actually just slinking off to the right. The impala actually doesn't mind too much of this leopard. Hello, beautiful. Yes, it's because you had your head above the grass, you silly chap. Otherwise, you could have potentially got another meal. Now, you're going up further. What are you going to do with that, big boy? Well, that's a little bit sad, I think. A big impala ram is watching, well, probably one of his friends. Well, maybe not his friends, maybe one of his enemies. Maybe that's him laughing at the moment, at the misfortune of this other impala. But as Hosana sort of shifts this carcass around, you can really see how big an impala ram actually is. They're not small animals. I think he's looking for another spot to try and move it around, but that tree's got a bit too much vegetation on for him to be able to clearly hoist it even higher. Don't worry, Hosana, that impala is not going to come and eat your kill. I think that's what he's worried about at the moment. Because he panicked as the impala started alarming. I think, let's take this moment to reposition quickly. What I want to do is I actually want to go back a bit and see if we can't get the impala in the shot as well. So I'll just reverse. And just do a little bit of reversing. He's It's very funny. Hosana is now snarling at the impala. He's showing his frustration, basically saying, I'm so annoyed that you've now given my presence away to everybody. Now I'm not worried about moving too much because they both know, well, the impala knows that Hosana's here. Just trying to get it so we can see this impala, but this impala has positioned himself in such an awkward spot. There we go. I think that should be okay. Now we can get both of them quite clearly. Yes, big boy, we can hear. We know that you know that there's a leopard in the tree. Well done. Your eyesight is fine. But watch Hosana's face quite carefully because, like I said, you might see him show a little bit of frustration, which is always funny. Snarling, growling, not at us, of course. They do it with birds, they do it with any antelope that alerts everyone of their presence. Hold on tight, boy. You're going to lose your kill. He's still struggling. He's big, but he's not massive yet. So and I think he's almost bitten off a little bit more than he can chew with trying to hoist it around. He's eaten most of it, so it should ideally be a lot easier for him to maneuver. I can't imagine how hard it must have been for him when he first caught the impala and took it up. I wonder if he did what Karula does and ate a little bit before he tried to hoist it. And it also explains why he didn't hoist it in a particularly big tree. I don't think he has developed the muscles just yet in his shoulders and in his hindquarters to be able to go straight up 2 or 3 meters up a vertical marula and then hoist it in a fork in one of those trees. He'll take some time. Remember, he's still young. He's not even a year and a half old yet. He's still got a long way, a lot of growing to do, and he's doing a fantastic job as is. But how great is this, finally? Our hard work and patience is, well, not hard work, we didn't do any hard work this morning, I'm just trying to justify it, but our patience definitely paid off. You're going to squeeze through the trees there. Where are you going? Come back here. We're not done looking at you, Hosana. He's apparently done with us watching him. Up he goes, up to the tops of the trees. Now, I don't know where he's going to sit up there, and I'm not sure what his plan is just yet. Unless he goes higher, there's a couple of branches that are nice horizontal branches that he could lay about. However, the ones that he is walking on at the moment, that's impressive, are not particularly big. But it looks like he's settling down. Oh, that's fantastic, Senzo. What a beautiful shot of the leopard peering through the leaves. He's very agitated at the moment. Again, he's not agitated with us. He's very frustrated with this impala ram that will now not go away. And he probably won't. He might stay here for a couple of minutes, keep shouting at little Hosana. Shame boy. It's really funny to actually sit and see things like this. Now, none of the birds have started alarming, and there's lots of hornbills, lots of starlings, lots of drongos. They don't seem too bothered. Now, Kate B, you're wondering how old is Hosana. He's not very old. He must be about 1 year and 3 or 4 months old now, so he's just shy of 1.5 years. And he, of course, has a sister too, Shongile. So the fact that he's not even 1.5 years old and he is taking down fully grown impala rams, unbelievable. That is really, really, really fantastic. I think there's very few leopards that can say at his age that they've done what he's done. I think he's done exceptionally well. He's definitely overachieving, which is great, and I hope that he keeps it up. It's very important for him to constantly keep feeding at this young age. You know, imagine Karula hasn't been around. We're very worried about her. We don't know where she has gone. We haven't seen any evidence of her, which is a bit sad considering that we see Karula. We were seeing her almost every single day. So she ideally would have kept these cubs for a little bit longer, even as old as 2.5 years for Hosana. Apparently Karula has a reputation for holding on to the male cubs. So he would have been provided kills for the next year and a couple of months. Now he's got to go off and do that on his own. And this is vital stages of muscle development, all these types of things. And the only way you can do something like that, of course, well, is by eating. And he's doing a great job. And I hope Shongile is doing just as well as him. Now, of course, you know Byron is on bushwalk. I saw movement on the other side of Vuyatela Dam, and I think that is Byron. Should we go and say hello? He is indeed still in the tree, hiding away. I think he got a little bit nervous once that impala started alarming, because he hasn't left yet. He's still snorting. And I think he's had quite a bit of experience with hyenas. I've seen them in many sightings before where the hyenas have come through and joined, or even wild dogs, that type of thing. So I think in a moment of panic, once he realized he was not going to catch that impala and the tables had turned, he thought anybody could come running in at any moment to respond, perhaps another predator, on those alarm calls. And I think he knows that his kill is very much exposed and it will be spotted quite easily. And of course animals sense out here is absolutely incredible. So they would have smelt this impala carcass too. We can't smell anything just yet, luckily for the cool days, but they would be able to. And I think that's why he quickly decided, let me see if I can reposition the kill, which unfortunately keeps getting hooked on the branches that he has rested it on. And then he's hidden himself, he's concealed himself so that he doesn't draw too much attention, which is actually a very good strategy. And I suppose it's a defensive strategy from a young leopard or any young predator. It's better to behave that way because you are small. If you do find yourself in a bit of confrontation after perhaps an impala has given away your presence, you don't want to sort of have to challenge wild dogs, challenge hyena, or even worse, a lion or a leopard, because they would not stand for him. They would chase him away, and if he was lucky enough to actually get away too. So I think that's why he's hidden himself at the top of this tree. Very clever boy. He's not very happy though. We're happy though. We got to see him move around quite a bit. I was hoping that we were going to watch him try and chase that impala down. That would have been so exciting. But you never know. This impala ram has obviously got his territory in this area. And I think that they've got a bit of goldfish memory at the moment. So maybe as the day progresses, impala will forget that there was a leopard here. Or maybe Hosana moves and he can try and go for him again a little bit later. But you can see he's come even closer towards a tree. He's not looking at Hosana now, he's just checking elsewhere. And I'm actually also going to look in the direction that the impala is looking, because he can probably hear a lot more than what we could. It could be the voices, people talking from Voyatel Lodge. Or it could be something running through the grass on their way here. We don't really know, but he's a beautiful ram though. He's a big boy, he's mature. He's definitely not one of the youngsters, and I don't think that this is his first rutting season either. So he's experienced. But how cool is that? Keeping an eye on us, listening to us, both ears moving around independently, listening to the voices from all the staff at the lodges, and I'm sure listening to Hosana as he breathes. But it's almost impossible to see him in there. And you know what? As we were driving around the last couple of days, he could have just been sitting up here too, or down on the grass. And you would never see him from the road. You don't even get to see the kill from the road unless you happen to be staring into the distance and you focus on the tree. Then you might be able to see it. But other than that, with all the foliage that it has on it, it makes it quite difficult, which is good for him. The impala has now moved away from him. So I'm hoping as the impala moves off, he seems to have got a bit bored now. Or he's made his point that there is a leopard here, that he is going to climb back down this tree again. Maybe come and feed. How cool is that though? What an exciting morning it has turned into. Let's go back across to James and see if he's having any luck. Managed to get quite a cool view of Hosana peering through the leaves. Now, I have to tell you a little behind the scenes here, which is really funny. To try and get these shots like this, I have to have sensor zoom right in to his face, and then we literally just go around the tree 37 times until we can find the best view. And it did take us a couple of attempts, but I think that we did pretty well. Earlier we had some great shots, but we had the couple of sticks in his face, but he kindly repositioned for us. And I think this is actually where he's going to spend the rest of his day. I didn't think there were very many nice horizontal branches in there, but as a leopard does, he's proven me wrong once again, which is good. I don't mind when the animals prove me wrong, that's okay. And he's found himself a great spot, nice shade. He'll keep nice and cool. He's got the dam close by. So again, keep your eye out on the dam cam for most of mid-morning, because I think he could come down and have a drink of water, which will be quite nice to see, to get a leopard fix sort of in between game drives. But how great is that? Now remember, we are watching a live safari. In case you have just joined us, welcome. There we go. Hosana is saying welcome to all of you. He's looking you straight in the eye now. And if you have got any questions, hashtag Safari Live. Now, for those of you who have just perhaps found the Safari Live feed and you're wondering who is this leopard and why he has a name, well, he's a young male leopard. His name is Hosana, and his mother is a very famous leopard. She's the queen of Djuma Private Game Reserve, or even the Northern Sabi Sand, and her name is Karula. However, we haven't seen her for quite some time. We're not sure, and sadly we're all starting to suspect the worst, that maybe she was taken down by something, maybe it was natural causes, we don't know. We haven't found any footprints of her, but we also haven't found a carcass. That's something that we must remember. We have not found any carcass yet, so we can't sort of give you an answer as to where Karula's gone, because we have absolutely no idea. She could have just marched straight out of her territory. I believe that she has been seen down near Male Male before, so you never quite know. Maybe she's decided that she wants to go for a holiday on the luxury sand river, which I don't blame her for. It's beautiful down there, plentiful in terms of game, so she could have gone around there too. But luckily, we are still seeing her two beautiful children, and this one, of course, Hosana, and she also has a female cub of the same age, and her name is Shongile. Now, Byron is on a roll this morning. He's gone from gymna jeans raiding nests. He's now found a little spider in a beautifully lit web.